Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today I want to share with you a clip from a recent members only live event where myself and Gathering the Magic got on, and we were talking about gold foil cards, using them on land to launch your land well, to maximize your growth plan within land. But then also it's just about the gold foils themselves. Are there some unique investment opportunities within the gold foils because of land utilization, because of those cards' scarcity? So it's about gold foils, it's about land launching well. As always, just special thanks to Gathering the Magic whenever he comes by. It's a great conversation. If you want to be present during these live events, consider supporting my YouTube channel. Check out the membership page, get involved if you're interested, and you'll be invited to these private members events. Thanks guys, have an amazing day. God bless. Oh,
hello.
Hey pal.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, you?
Good. Snowed in here in Michigan, so yeah, we got about 2.5 feet of snow over the weekend and Monday. So I stayed home, and actually today will be my first day back at work at a week. So yeah, had time to make a lot of content over the last few days, and I too forgot about the town hall, but I'll be at work, so I'll have to catch up later when I get home tonight. But one of the things I'm hoping they talk about is the roadmap for 2024 and what's high on their list, what's going to be tackled first. You know, is it going to be new player experience? Is it going to be land 1.6, battle wagons? So, like I said, I'll have to catch up on that when I get home.
Rares give, oh, okay, cool. Han, you got a comment here in the chat even. Rares give you 4,000 PP for about $40 to $45, and then epics give you 6,000 PP for 80 to 80, 85 to 90, and for that same dollar investment. So sorry, for like you spent, let's say you spent $40 for easy numbers on a gold foil rare, to fill it up, to max it out, you're going to get 4,000 PP. And you have to put in, is it 5,000? Yes, 5,000 DEC for that one max card, correct?
10,000.
10,000, you're right. Yep. And so that's $10 plus $40 for 4,000 PP. Or you go with the gold foil and you got to pen, let's say 80, just for easy numbers, $80, double the money. And then you've got to put in the same $10 worth of DEC. So you're at $90. So it's like roughly double, but you're getting a rarer asset with probably more rental potential, like long-term, again, like it's on the land for now, but it doesn't have to be. And you're getting 50% more production points, which is huge. And your way, you can step into it easier. Like you can there's only 10 copies necessary to get that to a max level. But if you get one copy, it's like actually pretty meaningful start. It's 1,000 PP, you said, right?
Just for a single copy is 600.
Oh, 600?
Yeah.
Okay. So is that with the, okay, yeah, I get it. So it's 10% every time you get a new BCX. Is that the thinking, like, you know, from the dollars and from the cost perspective, is your perspective on it? It's like, it's meaningful at 1 or 2 or 3 BCX, and I can move into it slower, and I eventually can get 10 copies. Because it does feel like, you know, when you look at, you know, $40 versus $80, I think a lot of people would say go for the rares. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, it all depends on your budget and your long-term view of land. Definitely, if you are on a lower budget, you know, you could say, well, $40, of course, is cheaper than 80. But then you also have to look at the fact that, okay, if you're only going to spend $40 and you spend it on the epics, you still have room to grow. You know, you still can add that extra $40 when you're able to, and get, you know, that extra 2,000 production points.
Yes.
You know, I mean, even if you just go regular foil legendaries and max them out, okay, that's great. But I think a max legendary regular foil only gives you 1,500 points. You're still
right?
spending 10,000 DEC. So I would rather spend 10,000 DEC and have the potential of getting 6,000 production over time, rather than, oh, I'm maxed out right away and I'm stuck at 1,500.
Yeah, that's a great point, because you are gonna, as long as you're playing the game, as long as you're still committing to land, you're gonna always want to grow what you're doing. And so if you went with the commons and you just max it out, then you've got nowhere else to go. You can't make it bigger. You can't add another one to that same slot. So you just need to change the card altogether. Now, maybe that's interesting because you'll have that gold foil common. Maybe you start with common and then later you buy a max rare and then later you buy a max epic, etc. But that's one way to grow it, but it makes more sense if, at least from a long term. It's like if you wanted to buy, if you knew you were going to grow your business, you would want to grow your business in a building that had room to grow. Like it, you know, maybe there's another office in the same, an office room in the same building you're renting that you're not currently renting, but you know that the owner says, if you ever need this for a little bit more, you can rent this. And as opposed to what I'm talking about is like building like a small little office and letting that be all you ever can have. And then one day being like, okay, we outgrew this. Let's just build a whole new office with no real future proofing. Your way feels like there's more future proofing and opportunity to grow into it.
Yeah, and especially with people that have like a lot of plots that are overwhelmed, that people have like tracts or regions. If you look at most of them, they probably don't even have 20 to 25% of their plots up and running because they're so focused on, of course, their best plots, which you want to get up and running right away, but they're focused on maxing everything out rather than just put a little bit of production, even if it's only 1,000 points on each of your plots, at least get them up and running, at least get them, start the process of getting them cleared out. You don't have to spend 50,000 DEC per plot. You don't have to have max level cards. Do what's affordable, do what's in your budget, and, you know, based on how many plots you have, you know, use that strategy. I mean, mine would be, if I've got 20 plots, I want to get them all up and running right away. I don't want to just focus on 2 or 3, have them maxed out, and then I have 17 just sitting there dormant, not doing anything.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I would do it.
Yeah, you're making a great point. I have done that a little bit. Like I've been slowly bringing them online, but as you can see by my energy required, like I put a larger amount of cards on each of them. Like I tried to really do my best of getting them, you know, close to the fullness of what they could hold. Now there's some in here where I started, okay, my DEC was running short, so I'm going to start filling it a little bit. But I still have 3 I haven't activated. So I do think I could see myself selling. I would need to probably, you know, I'm going to need something like $150 to get that going. I don't want to sell my SPS at these prices. If I did, let's say 150 divided by 0.025, 6,000 SPS, man. Oh, that stings. I really don't want to sell 6,000 SPS. Not at these prices. What do you think about what I said though, with respect to the epics and the prices? Do you feel like that logic around the land having greater utility with the epics and the gold foil epics, does that mean that those prices are inflated in a special way? And does that play into the conversation around maybe you should look at legendaries, or maybe because you could do what you're saying with the legendaries, you could buy 1 gold foil legendary and that would move the needle pretty meaningfully. And then, you know, 6 months, get another copy of that. And what do you think about that?
Yeah, I was looking at the epics too, or the legendaries too, but for me, epics were the sweet spot as far as cost, because you could do it with legendaries as well, but most of the legendaries, I think even the cheapest ones, you're looking at $48 to $50 just for one.
That's right.
So I didn't know how viable that would be for most people, but I'm like, $8 to $10, I think most people can afford, you know, even if it's once a week or, you know, a couple times a week, just throwing $8 or $10 into the game. You know, just to pick up a card here and there. So if you're on a bigger budget and you can afford, you know, dropping $50, you know, once a week or twice a week to get a gold foil legendary, absolutely, because those prices aren't going to hold. I mean, I was listening earlier when you were talking about prices for a lot of the gold foil alpha cards and all that, and I'm like, yep, move the decimal point over 1 spot, and that's where they'll be in about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So all those cards that are 30, 40, $50, yep, they're going to be 300, 400, 500. So
yeah.
Don't be surprised to see many multiples of those gold cards in a not too distant future.
Agreed. I think the complicating factor, or maybe the one like bit of criticism to my own argument around that I didn't levy, and I would love to mention here and hear your thoughts, is that I do think you're right. You probably add a 0, and like that's going to happen. Even with Bilka, even with Jimmy, even with Harkla, these cards that we like, there's lots of copies of them, relatively speaking. But I think the trick is, as you look at how packs move, you can look at the marketplace and see how many alpha packs sold today. It's not a lot. You can look and see how many beta packs sold today. It's not a lot. And so that's important information because it means, and the same would be true for cards, but like packs, something you can actually see on the chart here. If I go and I look at alpha, the last pack that sold was $75, and that was not today. Let's see, the last pack that sold was right over here on December 12th. Before that, there was a pack sold on November 29th. Before that, November 21st, November 12th, etc. And so my point in bringing that up is because it tells me something about the liquidity, about the daily volume. I do think this is going to happen with chaos packs, like maybe not this sort of price point, maybe not $75, but like $10, maybe 20. I think it's going to happen. But even if you go look at Untamed, it's not like every day there's hundreds of these packs selling. The last pack sold $10 for Untamed, and that was over here on January 5th. Then it looks like there was one on January 3rd, January 2nd. So there's a few being sold every day, or maybe every week. But picture yourself holding thousands of Untamed packs. It's not going to be easy to move out of them. That's one of the criticisms I want to levy at my own point, because the same is going to be true for the gold foils. If you pack your bags with gold foil Jin Bilkis, because they're really inexpensive, they have a lot of that utility, they're a good card for all the reasons I said earlier, and I think you're agreeing to. I think you got to remember, if you have 100 of these things, you're not going to be able to go into the market one day in the future and sell 100 for $500 each. You can list one for 500 and just wait, and it'll sell every few months, I bet. I really think that'll happen. These prices you'll add a zero and they'll move at that price, but it'll be hard to move them all. And so if we're thinking investment, I would love to have a bit of a diversity as opposed to like pack the bags on one of these cards. And then you also gotta have the willingness to just ride that lack of liquidity and just be patient, because the only way to move in and out quickly is going to be with SPS, and it's always going to be really liquid, but it's never going to have the sort of, you're not going to sell one SPS for $500, but you will sell some of these cards for 500, 1,000, 5,000 has already happened. What do you think about that as a criticism to maybe focusing too hard on gold foil legendaries or gold foil cards, period?
Yeah, there won't be a lot that sell, but once the game grows, you're going to have those big time collectors and investors come in and see how rare they are and be like, okay, this game's now got 50,000, 80,000, 100,000 players, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. There's how many? 53 of these in existence. Yeah, I'll drop a couple grand on one of these because I think the price will go up. So It's not going to be something that sells day to day, but it will here and there. Just like in Magic the Gathering, you've got Moxes and you got Black Lotuses that are, 30, 40, 50,000, $100,000. Do a lot of them sell? No, but to the few investors and collectors that have those funds, they do sell.
That's right.
And I have to hop off because I have to head to work. So I will catch the rest of the stream later when I get home. Hope everyone is having a fantastic start to 2024. Hope there's a lot of great news tonight in the town hall. And as always, guys, stay the course, keep on forging, and more importantly, have fun. And Dwayne, I'll talk to you again in the not too distant future.
Thanks, pal. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Yep. I feel pretty good about that. That does make me think I want to focus on the legendaries. But I think he's making strong points around the epics and considering it from the perspective of probably the average man. And then that makes me wonder if, as we only have about 20% of the land that's activated, so does that make the argument around epics, gold foil epics, even more enticing? 20% of land has been activated. If we get to a place where 50%, 60%, which is still like quite trivial, I bet we see even more drying up of the gold foil epics. Do they double in price in the short term because of that? Next 6 to 9 months. Maybe. I don't know. I guess it depends on, what does it depend on? It depends on SPS price to a large degree. Because when people look at land, they look at SPS payouts as the sole factor of how land is desirable or successful. If SPS is at 2.5 cents, 3.5 cents, mostly people don't care about the SPS returns. It doesn't make sense, like we talked about recently, to spend $100 to activate a plot of land, to buy a plot of land and activate it. That's a common plot with basic cards. It doesn't make sense to do that. You could just buy, several thousand SPS instead. So that's going to be true until SPS is 10 cents or 15 cents. And it's at that moment where people will start being like, well, it's actually pretty reasonable to go ahead and buy a plot of land in order to farm it, in order to receive the returns. That's how APRs work. Like APRs get to a place where they are too juicy. And it depends on the token price itself that you're being paid in. When the APR is paid in SPS, if the SPS token appreciates, the return multiplies. That's why the liquidity pools will go parabolic when they do when the SPS goes up. That's why land utilization will go up as SPS goes up. And I think in the same moment, you probably will see more and more marketability around the gold foil epics because of the reasons he outlined.